All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am not going to keep you very long because not all of you, but several of you will be at the summit. And so you're going to be watching videos all day, every day. But I just had a very interesting dialogue over in the Facebook land. And of course, I have to bring this over here to this side. And so just give me 1 second. Bam. All right, I got it added into the group. So I titled this video, You Are Strong, but You Are Not Powerful. And so I equated this to the whole thing about Team No Sleep, the strong black woman. What is it that we're really doing? Because some people are like, they don't want the ideal of them losing their strength, to be taken away from them. But at the end of the day, wordplay is extremely important. So while I was sitting in meditation, I got this unction, in my spirit, like go look up the word strong and go look up the word powerful. I love words. I love them. And it's amazing what we can speak in existence over our life ignorantly because we just don't know. And so a lot of people don't understand that the reason why that so many black women have issues is because we are working very hard and we're relying on our own strength. That's what it means to be strong. Strength means to have power to move heavy objects or to perform physically demanding tasks. And so think about it from a business perspective. This is why some people don't like the whole concept of Team No Sleep, because I'm going to stay up all day and I'm going to pack all these packages and I'm going to drive to this place and I'm going to deliver all this stuff and I'm going to create all my posts and I'm going to show up online. And so all you're thinking is task, task, task. And it's all about the physical exertion of your energy. And so when you look at certain individuals, for instance, like myself, where we show up strong, we show up hard, we do a lot of things that appear to be physically demanding to some of you all. For many of us, it's not. In all actuality, it's something that we do with much grace and much ease. And when you have a position and you're dealing with ministry or you're dealing with counseling a lot of people, a lot of times you do need an abnormal amount of strength. And a lot of people don't even understand that we have to tomato some things. Like for real, for real. We have to just accept the fact that the value that words or the value that a position has for somebody else is not the same thing. Like if a man works in corporate America to provide for his family and he's gone all the time, but he gives him the house and he affords him the ability to go to the best schools, to live in the best neighborhoods. Somebody can say, yeah, but you did all of that stuff, but you weren't there for your wife, you weren't there with your kids. And we might scrutinize that individual, but let's go ahead and get really controversial. Was Martin Luther King a good husband? Was he a good father? Because he was never at home. Every time you turned around, not only was he never at home, but he was engaging in an activity where he knew his life was on the line because he received dozens and dozens, 30, 40, sometimes 50, 60 death threats in one day. And so but we don't look at him as if he was a bad man. We look at him as a hero and a person that's a server of the community. I mean, have you ever taken the time to think like, how does a man march as far as he did? How does a man sit and write those speeches to still pray, to still minister to people, to still answer the calls, to still suffer in jail and still show up and not look like many of our presidents do? They go in with black hair and come out with gray hair because he wasn't operating out of strength. He was operating out of power. And so power is the reliance on some of your physical, but it is encapsulated in the spiritual. And so when you're doing what you're doing, and if you got that strong black woman complex, what you're dealing with is that you're doing like we did back in slavery, because they didn't care how sick we were. They didn't care whether or not we just had a baby. They didn't even care if we were children. They didn't care if we were women. There was no thing about being inferior because of your size and your sex. It was like, get out there, sun up to sundown, and pick that cotton. And so we've been conditioned in order to be able to survive. We ain't going to get into the whole debate about systemic racism. No, this is not saying that no other race doesn't have ghetto slums, trailers, parks, and that's not what we're saying. But what we are saying is that there is a different mindset towards, the majority on welfare, but black people are still stigmatized if they're on it. So there's this thing of I have to work. There's this thing of I have to take care of. There's this thing of I have to do. And so without realizing it, we are naturally conditioned to perform out of our own strength. When in all actuality, we've got to get in a place of peace, then operate out of power. Because see, the definition of power is power or strength. It's control and influence over people and events, controlling influence. And it's a strong effect on people's thoughts. And so a lot of you, let's take this and let's connect it to business, because you want to be an influencer, right? You want your business to grow to a specific degree. You want there to be a level of impact. But how many of you feel like you are hitting your head against a brick wall and not seeing any levels of progression? Because you're not seeing the amount of people that you need to register. And it's one of those things. Maybe the first time you did an event and only 10 people showed up, but now, it seems like it's fewer and fewer. It's stuck. Maybe you've been doing this for so many years and you like, by now I should be at 60 people. You haven't progressed to the level that you believe that you're supposed to be at. Well, maybe that's because it has a lot to do with the fact that you haven't personally progressed. See, people have a false sense of power when they're showing up physically. That's why when you work all day, you don't take breaks, you don't properly you don't drink enough water, you don't give yourself the proper nutrition, you don't find that you don't make the time to exercise, you don't do what you have to do to take care of yourself. Then Team No Sleep becomes a crime, and you actually do hurt your body in the long run. And you could find yourself physically exhausted, bedridden, the whole nine, on medication. But when you are operating and you take the pain, your struggles, the things that you've been through, and you process them to come to a straight up hardcore place of peace where they no longer control you. Your relationships and things that happen with other women of the past doesn't make you say, okay, I'm going to give this one a try. But if she play me, there are a lot of things that I've experienced, but I go into every relationship like, okay, hey, there's something cosmic here. Let's let whatever this cosmic thing is happen. I don't sit here and say, okay, every time I try to work with a white woman, she do something stupid. I end up having to cut her. Every time I try to do something with some sisters, she take advantage of me. Every time I work with a brother, he ain't doing nothing but trying to get you. I don't do that. And the reason being is because I always show up authentically. I show up in a manner. My power is my authenticity. Many of you all don't realize that you're not showing up authentically because you lack power and self-belief in who you are. See, you can't influence people, you can't control people, you can't have an effect on people and or events if you are trying to mimic or be something that looks like it's what you're supposed to be. As opposed to saying, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Look at this amazing thing that the divine did when I was created. And so because I'm so raw and I'm so edgy, I say things that make people say things to me that they don't even realize what they said. I was talking to a brother the other day. He said, there's only 5 types of women out there. I said, really? I said, okay. I didn't ask him what 5 types of women there were. I said, what type of woman am I? And he was like, got a bad connection, got a bad connection. I said, uh-huh. But do you know he never answered the question? Now, he could think if he were to see this video, if he was in this community, he'd be like, she overanalyzing what happened. No, I'm not. Because evidently you believe that whatever kind of woman it is that you view me as, that I'm going to have a problem with it and that I'm not going to like it. But if it's what it is and it's the truth, then why can't you say it? But that says a lot about what you think about my character by you not responding. But on any other given day, you just like all of the other people that message me, I learned so much from you. I bow myself down to you. I lay my head down because you the wisest, you the wisdom, you the this, you that. I ain't turned on by none of that stuff. It means absolutely nothing to me. But because I say what's on my mind, I say what I'm thinking, I show up who as I am, I ask the questions that I want answers to, guess what? I don't even have anything against the brother. I just know that he's somebody that I won't connect with, that I won't develop any level of an intimate personal business. I mean, I'm not definitely not a person, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm married, but a business relationship with, wherever there could have potentially been room, because I'm reaching out to a lot of different men because I want more men to be active here in the group and also active in my summits. I'm like, okay, there's no future endeavors for us because I didn't ask you the question in a jokingly manner. So why didn't you answer the question? So you got so caught up in asserting your expertise. And so my authenticity is so in your face that when it strikes people the wrong way, then I just accept it for what it is. Because I'm not going to try to make something work in my own strength because of who I think you are, who you may be connected to, or what the possibilities could be to forward my future. Because I know that whether it's male or female, when I'm connected to people where there's that cosmic connection, we won't have to do a lot of work because that's what synergy is. Synergy is when the effort of the few is greater than the combined effort put together. And so you can't, when you need to ask yourself that, am I operating in relationships where we're pushing through our own strengths, or are we pushing with our power? Because when we push with our power, we get a return that far supersedes anything that we could have ever thought or imagined for our expectations. And so I'm just asking you, Queen, are you doing a lot of physically demanding things to try to make your business work without doing the inner work so that you can heal, so that you can operate out of your power? So this is the last point that I'll connect with this video. I talked about how a lot of you have a false sense of power. You still have pain, but you don't have as much pain as person over here. So maybe your pain is at 75%. I mean your pain is reduced to 40%. But you're looking at somebody over here who's dealing with pain at like 90%. You want to rush and try to get them to be at your 40% level, but 40 doesn't sound that bad. But at the end of the day, you really do need to get that pain maybe down to 10%. I'm just using random numbers. But instead of you doing the work and you don't want to deal with your own pain, you rather look at the pain of everybody else. You could put energy into somebody who's not even in a mindset yet to even want to get out of their stuff. Because some people like to sit in their pain. But because you haven't healed and you don't know who you are, you haven't went on the process of self-discovery, you will put a lot of energy, a lot of strength, a lot of physical demanding effort, talking on the phone, calling them, chasing behind them, trying to get them to change, when you actually need to pause for the cause, get yourself together so that you can then say, I remember when I was in that place, I was comfortable in my ish. It wasn't until I came down about that far and I see that, okay, they kind of showing some signs that they want help. That's the kind of person I want to help. And then you'll find that in those relationships where there may be a little bit of edginess because you're working with a person that's hurt, you're able to more powerfully speak to from a place of empathy and sympathy to their situation and help them graduate to a level of healing and go further and faster. That's the difference between operating out of strength versus operating out of power. And that's why if you haven't gotten a ticket for the summit, you need to get your ticket for the summit, because it's not about you being all jacked up and everything is wrong with you. It's about saying, I need to graduate to my next level of healing. It's about saying, I need to listen to other sisters to understand what they're going through so that my community can heal as well. Okay, so that is your nugget for today. Please know there'll be some activity in here, but for the most part, all of the activity is going to be in the Worthy of Abundance group. To know where that link is and to get access to it, you need to go to my website, AuthorCrenshaw.com/real women. Get your ticket and sign up because we're discussing it all. We're going to be worthy of abundance financially, emotionally, in our health, in our relationships, in our spirit, and our sexuality and our self-image. We're gonna see ourselves as the vessels that we're worthy to be. Okay? So I love you all. I'm gonna get out of here and I'll talk to you later. Deuces.